Larry, locally, I'm wondering, where can we go? We're not looking at invasive species necessarily here, but we are looking at a lot of additional vegetation because of the wet months. Is there a place you'd recommend that our public can go and really kind of see what it is like post having a really wet season in the desert, and how, as you're saying, how you can see where there's the connection of fuel to fuel?
Well, I don't think anybody that has a rock yard hasn't been battling weeds this whole springtime. I know I have been. That's just a minor example of the crop of grasses that we're getting right now. You drive down the freeway, you can see small light fuels, fine fuels connecting those bushes. It's pretty obvious when you go look. It's not going to be this huge overgrowth that you might think it is. It's just fine grasses that aren't usually there. And it's pretty obvious if you look.
And good point. I have noticed the weeds have been a little bit thicker than
a lot of Roundup.
So
and if you look at some of the satellite products that we have for the entire state, the moisture level this spring has been so high that we're well above 100% increase in overall greenness statewide. So all of the state is greener. Significantly greener. It's just a question of the timing of when those monsoonal rains are going to come in, where they're going to hit, how much water they're going to deposit, and what that does to soil moisture, and then where we have dry lightning strikes or man-made fires as to what's going to happen for the fire season.
Thank you for mentioning that again. I wanted to touch more upon that. So if we did have a lot of monsoonal moisture, is it possible that we're not going to have a high fire season, that we might moisture out and then get to the winter and we just kind of recycle at that point?
Well,
is that possible?
It's possible, but remember, our monsoon flows are individual cells. They're not like our winter rains, which cover an entire region and have a slow, steady downfall of rain that pretty uniformly spreads out. So our monsoonal flow, if we have a good monsoonal flow this year, could have a devastating effect as far as flash flood and a lot of water hitting over a short period of time in a very localized area. So what you're going to have across the landscape is a mosaic of wet, dry, wet, dry. And then it's a question of where you're going to have that ignition and what the fuel source is going to be as far as carrying it. At the lower elevations, we don't have the vegetation cover, and so you'd be flashing across that eriogonum, that trumpet plant, from one creosote bush to the next. But if we're up in the upper elevations where there's more fuel and we have trees and they're drying up, then it could be more problematic.